God is a God of justice, and the kingdom of Christ is to be distinguished by compassion and justice for all who are afflicted and needy. In the words of Jeremiah, Christians are to do justice and righteousness. Now, over the past year, there has been a lot of talk in our culture about justice. Much of that has come from a secular, human-centered worldview that has redefined biblical terms, which means Christians, as the people of God, must use great discernment in how we engage the social justice movement of our day. We cannot buy everything our culture is selling in the name of justice. At the same time, Christians who have God's heart for justice should rejoice to see, and we've seen it throughout this last year and in recent years, that unbelievers are capable, because of God's common grace, of putting a spotlight on injustices and of calling for justice. There is sexism and slavery and racism and abuse and other injustices that are present in our nation. Some Christians have responded to the social justice movement by denying the presence of social injustice, by downplaying oppression as a biblical category of suffering, and by ignoring the rich biblical teaching on justice. That is a mistake. It is a very good thing to care about justice in education, policing, incarceration, housing, hiring, and more. It is good for all people, Christians and non-Christians, to be aware of the injustices in our world, genuine injustices where they exist, and work toward a more just society. Yet what I find so inconsistent and even so shocking is that for so many advocates of social justice, the millions of defenseless unborn people who are killed every year in the womb don't fit their definition of the oppressed. So many who claim to care deeply about all injustice in society and are addressing a wide range of justice issues have, by and large, been tragically silent and passive, or actively unjust and violent when it comes to seeking justice for human lives in the womb. Every abortion is an abuse of power. Our vision of justice has something to say here. It can be so hard for all of us who are no longer in the womb. It can be so hard for us to see our privilege. We have post-birth privileges that preborn people do not enjoy in the womb. They feel pain, but they are too weak to fight back. They are victimized, but they have no voice. Who will stand up for them? Who will speak out for them? Who will act on their behalf? A vision of justice in society that has nothing to say in defense of the unborn is a vision that has lost its biblical and moral compass or never had it to begin with. It is an indictment on our nation that we have not had a civil rights movement for the unborn. It is an indictment that there is no national public outcry for the shedding of innocent blood. It is a tragedy that in all of the messages from professional sports addressing a wide range of justice issues, from voter reform to education reform to the dignity of black life and the protection of women, many of which we say yes and amen and it's needed, yet it is a tragedy that there are no jerseys that address abortion. There are no end zones that say end abortion. I am not minimizing the importance of pursuing justice in other areas or calling attention away from other genuine injustices where they exist. Christians do not play the issue comparison games that you see in so much of politics and social media. We don't bring up abortion and leverage this issue to minimize other areas of injustice or to pit one justice issue against another. The Christian response to the many injustices of our world is not, "But what about abortion?" The Christian response is to weep at every injustice and to thank God that there are people focusing their efforts and attention on other areas of injustice. Not every Christian is going to speak and work equally in every area of justice. We need Christians speaking and working towards justice for minorities and for the poor, and we need Christians speaking and working toward the protection of the unborn. And we need those Christians to not argue with each other or seek to minimize the justice issues that the other person is advocating for in our nation, but instead encourage each other and work together toward a holistic vision of justice that reflects the heart of God in His Word.